Welcome back to Inscryption. I'm Akanar, and this is episode 6, where we're about to embark on our 5th run after our previous deck once again met its unfortunate end in the harsh environments of the Snowlands. That place has been such a nightmare for us so far. We've got to figure out how to get through the Snowlands, but you know, the best part of a deck coming to its end is you get to build a new one. And that's what we're going to do here. We've got our starter deck. The Stunted Wolf has made his way into the fold. We are our trio of talking cards is complete, at least for the moment. We'll see if our Stunted Wolf undergoes any similar transformation as the to the Stink Bug and the Stoat as they have done so far. And we got the Bullfrog once again along for the ride. He seems to find his way into the starting deck here pretty often. So let's go ahead and get started. There's not really too much of a choice to make at the start. We're going to be adding a card to our deck, but I guess we want to think a little bit about our path going forward. I think the first decision, or the first fork in the road, we would go to sacrifice a card. I think I'm really going to try as much as possible to keep my deck svelte. I want it to be... It gets so... When you have these really good cards that you put in your deck, it's really tough when your deck is 17, 18 cards and you're just never drawing into it to get to your good cards. Now, there may be no way to avoid that in this game, but I think I'm going to try to do it as much as possible and take one of the sigils from our other cards, if nothing else, just to keep the deck as small as possible. But before we make that decision, let's first, unfortunately, add a card to the deck, which I'm going to keep trying to do it here, but I'm pretty sure there's just no way the game is not going to allow you to skip this. So we must begin with adding a card. However, we could add a death card, and that seems like a lot of fun here. A 2 bones, 3/4 with Stinky and Reach seems like a great way to go. And somehow our our portrait here, I guess we were wearing a hat in our previous incarnation, so there you go. All right, and I think that's exactly what we're going to pick, and that makes it a much easier choice then. I think we would want to sacrifice the Stink Bug in order to allow... We don't want to strain our bones economy too quickly, I don't think. So I think just having the 1 bones card in the deck would make more sense, and it would also make our deck a lot more aggressive if we get rid of the 1 power Stink Bug as opposed to the 3 power of our death card. The Grizzly is tempting, but it might be a little bit early for that. Such an aggressively statted card, but it does cost 3 sacrifices. So I think it's going to be a little bit easier to ramp into the Bones card. Now, with that Bones card in the deck at the same time, it could be useful to try to go and get a totem that gives something Bone King, or gives some of our cards Bone King. That would certainly make things much more affordable. It would make the deck more affordable, but again, we have to wait till at least our second visit to the Woodcarver to even get a totem. And even if you do get a Bone King base offered, there's no guarantee that you're going to get a head that is, well, I suppose with our starter deck here, we do have kind of one of each. One from 3 different families, and so we would have a much better chance of hitting one of those. But again, the Woodcarver is a longer-term payoff. And at the same time, if you go to sacrifice a card, you're thinning your deck. I like the idea of keeping this deck as minimal as possible. So what I want to sacrifice, I think you are my choice, because, like I said, I don't want too many cards that I need to spend bones on. So who do we give Stinky to? Probably makes more sense to have it on the more defensively statted card. But again, we could give it to the Bullfrog and just make that give that the most defense possible. Maybe that's the better way to go. Do we want to spread out the sigils? I guess if you're... I don't know. The wolf really wants... He's like... buff me, please. Maybe I'll spread out the sigils. I don't know. The bullfrog only having reach just makes it so... It makes it such a weak target. I would actually rather sacrifice the bullfrog later. And if we put the... If we enhance the stoat, that means I can still sacrifice the bullfrog to give it to something, to give its sigil to something else. It's tough, but I think this is the way I'm going to do this. Fine choice. Oh, glad to know you're agreeable for once. The stoat, the wonderful, lovely stoat. He's my favorite, sort of. You took the film roll. Is that correct? My plan nears its moment of truth, but you must defeat him first. I am trying my best to defeat him. I'm not sure if he means, I think he means, yeah, we have to completely get through every single act. I don't know if there's 3 of them, if it's similar to Slay the Spire in that regard, but we definitely need to get through the Snowlands one way or the other. Okay, we got a pronghorn on the way. It's going to be moving around on us after it hits us for 2. And I cannot get Akinar in play just yet. Can't get the death card down, but what I could do is line up the stoat. If I line up the stoat, I'm actually taking nothing if the stoat lines up next to the pronghorn. Now, eventually, that pronghorn is not going to be lined up across from the stoat, but I think that's a better start for us. And then I can follow up with the wolf. This will be slightly less aggressive, but it saves us a little bit more damage, I think. Yeah, let's go with that. And then once the pronghorn is in play, now we can think about attacking it with the wolf, maybe. Oh, but at the same time, this is where I can play out my hand. Never mind. I can actually just play out my hand here because I get to play the squirrel. I get to sacrifice it and put the wolf here, and now I have 2 bones to play the death card. And that is the power of a cheaply statted bones card. Your early game can be so much more powerful when you have a bones card that can actually take advantage of your bones. But it's also not so expensive, like a 6 bones rattler or something. Nothing we can do here, right? So I'll just draw from my deck, but I don't think that we just leave the things, we leave things the way they are because we're hitting for 6. We get a whole bunch of teeth. So things are off to a better start here. That felt extremely good. That felt incredibly good. Now, we did pass up on our first trip to the woodcarver, so that means a second trip is not going to get us a totem. And I don't know, maybe I avoid totems altogether, because is the totem really all that good for us if it only buffs 1 card in our deck? It's basically the same as if we went to a campfire. And even then, I'm not sure it's going to be a buff that I want. Because Bone King, giving Bone King to something, doesn't really get us anything just yet. I'm not so sure I'm sold on these totems. It's so much different than getting relics in Slay the Spire that are, like, way more powerful, and you can get a whole ton of them to power up your run. It doesn't seem to be the same power level in Inscryption. I don't think we're going to go to the left, because we don't need items. I think I'd rather go in this direction. Maybe we get another Bones card. We'll see. But probably we'd rather get, like, I don't know. We're going to look at our curve here and see. It's definitely a different type of pick when you don't get to see what card you're adding. That is definitely, it makes going this direction, being able to actually see the cards before you pick them is a much stronger choice. But then we would miss out on a campfire upgrade. So let's go this way. And what is the choice that we're offered? 2, 3, and bones. Okay. It's probably too soon to take another bones card. What probably is the better choice here is to go with a 2 blood, a 2 sacrifice option. 3 is maybe a bit too expensive. I think our deck might be able to afford 2 though. We get the Ant Queen, which is okay because she does at least put an ant in our hand. On her own, not the strongest. A 2-mana 1/3, kind of weak. But the fact that you do get another card in your hand is pretty decent. You still have to play that card by sacrificing a squirrel. But the Regal Ant Queen, she births a new ant once played. Okay. All right, and again, we can't skip. There's no ability to skip so far as I know. If there is a way to skip, don't tell me. Let me see if I can figure it out, but I don't think the game lets us do that. Let's upgrade a card though. I think. What is this over here? I do wish that like I can get this top-down view, but it's a little tough to see sometimes. There are still shadows that are blocking your ability to recognize. I'm not attuned enough to the game yet to know what this spot over here is. But I guess we'll make that choice eventually. All I can say is it's probably not another totem or a woodcarver visit. So I think for now we're just going here. Get us an upgrade. And it's going to be a health upgrade. Okay. We have not food, but perhaps one of your creatures will join us, enhance its health. I think I shall. And I think the one that makes the most sense is the wolf. Let's make this a 1-mana 2/4. Seems good. You had an idea. Why not warm your creature by the fire for just a moment longer? One of the starving survivors took a step closer. This would be risky. Oh. Oh, there is a new mechanic here now. We can push our luck or pull away. Oh. Does this mean that if are we taking a coin flip here? Although it might be a coin flip that is good for us. Because I want to have a 1-mana 2/4 in my deck. It's true. And I suppose if we tried to push our luck and we win, we might have a 1-mana 2/6. But if we don't win, then perhaps we lose our card. But I did say that I wanted to have a smaller deck. Losing a card would not be the end of the world. I think I want to push my luck because it feels like we win one way or the other. Heads I win, tails I win. Maybe? I'm gonna push my luck. Okay, luck was on your side. Perhaps one more moment? But you sensed the risk was now even greater. Oh. So we could do it again? But it sounds like it's worse than a coin flip now. I don't even know if it was a coin flip the first time. But it sounds like your odds are getting even more likely that the card is going to get eaten by the ravenous survivors. So I think at this point, a 1-mana 2/6 is good enough. I think it's good enough. It's interesting, though, that this lets you just keep going. If this were an attack power upgrade, maybe I would just keep going. Because if you think about having like a 1-mana 4/2 or a 1-mana 5/2, that is an incredibly lethal card to have in your deck. If you top deck or if you get that in your opening hand and you're able to swing the scales so massively at the very first turn, that's a whole different story than upgrading your health from like 4 to 8. That doesn't like, yeah, your card is more durable, but it's still only a 2-attack card. So I think I'm gonna just take my 6 health here and say that, all right, I've got a pretty good stunted wolf for the early game. The fire warmed the weary stunted wolf and enhanced its health. You suspected the intentions of the survivors were less than pure, and we retreat to the woods. Interesting mechanic, though. I love these discoveries and twists in the plot, twists in your expectations. Subversion of expectations is so much fun. All right, new battle. Or our first battle? No, we already had one. So this is our second fight. There's a grand fur in our way, but we do have, well, actually we don't have our stunted wolf. We do not have the wolf to help us out here. This pronghorn is going to come down and it's going to hit for 2, and then it's going to head over here. So if we don't want to get hit for 2, then we probably just want to line up one of our minions across on the left-hand side of the stump, so it soaks the damage from the pronghorn and then hits the pronghorn. That feels like an okay way to go. So we'll do that with the stoat. Oh, but the stoat is also stinky. So now it's not going to matter the first turn that the pronghorn comes down, but it will matter the next, because then our stump will take 1 less hit, for whatever that's worth. Let's get the stoat in play. And then we could also just play a bullfrog over here. And maybe that's what we should do, is just kind of tempo out our hand. Start chipping away. There's nothing coming down from the opponent. So why not just get a bullfrog down? Can always sack it later. Okay. So now there's an elk fawn lined up, but it's not coming into play this next turn. Our stoat's going to take another hit, and we are going to take another face damage, but that's okay because we have the scales tilted in our favor. Now, do we draw a squirrel to make our ant queen a little more playable? Probably. At some point, we're going to want to sacrifice the stoat before it loses, or it just dies, I think. So I guess this turn I will draw a squirrel, but I'm not going to do anything just yet. We'll just hit for 2. And we'll see what the opponent decides to do. There's no new cards played. So now the elk fawn is going to, unfortunately, the stump is going to get in the way, and this elk fawn is going to hatch no matter what. So there's not really anything we can do about that. I think this turn I will go ahead and draw from my deck. We get the stunted wolf. So we still don't have to sacrifice we don't have to sacrifice the stoat if we don't want to. But also maybe I should just kill the pronghorn. Because actually, now that I think of it, I actually do want to kill the pronghorn because, I mean, this is a pretty easy battle. Maybe I don't need to overthink this too badly. But I think I actually do play the stunted wolf in place of the stoat because it kills the pronghorn for 1. Use me wisely. I hope I have. It kills the... Yeah, I'm going to just play it like this. Kills the pronghorn, and now the elk fawn attacks the stump and moves to the left, so it can be killed by the wolf. Now we can also draw the last card in our deck, which we know is our bones card, and that can just play here, and it seems like we're in a pretty winning position. Cool. And in fact, we're hitting for uber lethal. I don't think I can hit for any more lethal than what I've got, so can't sacrifice the fur, so that is what it is. We draw our squirrel, but then we just hit and get a whole bunch of teeth. All right, cool. Nice. We're in Act 1. The battles are easy. Don't overthink them too much. What we do want to think, though, about is which direction we're going on the map. The chance to continually thin our deck is very tantalizing. What would we do this time, though? We would probably be sacking the bullfrog. That's another thing that I would like to do. If I'm going to thin the deck, I would like my less impactful, my weakly statted early minions to probably be the fodder to feed into stronger cards. Where we have an incentive to pick up more ants, if we can, to try and make this ant queen stronger, because she's pretty weak at the moment. But that would actually be, now that I think of it, maybe the ant queen is the one that you would want to sacrifice. It wouldn't make a ton of sense giving ant spawner to a non-ant card. That is kind of on the weak side, but at the same time, you're giving yourself a card just by playing some other card while you're thinning your deck. Let's see what we get. We're going to go to the side that we get to sacrifice a card at again. We could go to the trapper to pick up some furs, but that, and we do have a lot of teeth already. So this might be a good chance to get a rare card, and maybe I should take it. Rare card versus keeping the deck thin. The thing is, you don't get the rare card right away. If you get that golden pelt, you still have to wait till you get to the trader. It's tricky, man. It's tricky. It does give us another campfire upgrade, though. Let's do it. I think because we picked up so many teeth in the first battle. Also, I'm just going to quickly check to make sure there haven't been teeth added to the skull. All right. We don't get teeth from the skull. I'm also still curious to click on this, but I'm also not sure what it's going to do to our run. I think for now, we will go to the trapper. Let's spend some of those teeth. If we're going to add cards to our deck, let's at least make them good. Now, the thing is, when you go to the trader, you still also get, you do get the guaranteed rabbit pelt, which doesn't feel so good. But I will take a golden pelt. And I can't quite afford a second one, unfortunately. So I don't think I'm going to take a wolf pelt, but it does give me, I think when you take a wolf pelt, it does give you like an upgraded or inscribed card, which could be very powerful. But we don't know until we would have to survive with these in our deck until we get to trader. I'm just going to take these for now. I'm going to take those two and try not to burden myself too much. Now we'll steer away from the elite fight, and we will, because again, we don't need any items. So let's upgrade a card. And maybe do a bit of gambling. The warm light of a campfire was a welcome sight. So, okay, we are upgrading health once again. Upgrading health. But also we might want to pick a card that we would be okay losing. Like maybe the bullfrog. Or the ant queen. I would kind of be okay if we ended up losing the ant queen. I wouldn't be the saddest, because this is just not a very strong card in our deck right now. It gets stronger the more health that we offer it, and maybe, you know, you could, if it works the same way that it did before, and you just can keep rolling until the survivors eat the card, then you could just treat the campfire as remove a card, which is not the worst thing to do either. And if I did remove a card, I think I'd rather remove the Ant Queen because it's just a 2 mana, 1/3. Yeah, it puts a card in your hand, but you still have to pay those 2 sacrifices. Let's upgrade the Ant Queen and see if this same option is now presented to us. Surely your creature could become more powerful, but you would need to risk another moment by the fire. Push your luck or pull away. Let's try pushing our luck. Aha! Before you could pull away, one of the survivors leapt upon the Ant Queen. Another jabbed it with a spear. You looked away as a grotesque feeding frenzy ensued. Blood and bones flew left and right as you retreated from the scene. Yes! It did work the way that we thought it. Let's go. Guys, we walked into a campfire knowing what we wanted to do. We had a plan. It ended up being a very gruesome ending for one of our cards, but it's kind of what we wanted. Are we becoming the villain in this story? Maybe we're the villain after all, and not Crazy Eyes. I'm kind of glad. I think that was good. Card remove. Another card remove option has presented itself. Awesome. I like this. Let's do another fight. And the opponent is bringing in Pronghorn and a Mole. We have a golden pelt on the other hand, and a rabbit pelt. Good lord. The pelts. We're gonna need to draw from our deck here pretty soon. So the pelts. At least the pelts are going to soak some damage. So that's what we will have them do, I think. I think they're both going to... Let's see, I'm gonna put the golden pelt on the far side. And we're going to put the rabbit pelt here. It will die right away, but then I'll have the ability to line up a creature across from the pronghorn if I so choose. Actually, I might end up drawing from my deck next turn. Maybe that's what I already said. We do have a knife and a hook and a squirrel if the need arises, but I think we'll be okay for now. Let's see if the opponent does not line up any new cards, so it's just the pronghorn and the mole. Let's draw from our deck. We meet again. Okay, good. The wolf is here. So we probably want to start chipping away at this pronghorn. With 6 health, it's going to be fine for the wolf to be... Yeah. This is... He is going to start to have to chip away at the mole eventually, but I think I would rather hit... I don't know. Is it better to hit face here or hit the pronghorn? Because the pronghorn's going to move. No, but we can't hit face because the mole's going to move over here. So then... Would we rather... I think we don't want the mole to move. I'd rather just hit the pronghorn this turn. Yeah, we'll take a hit at the pronghorn, start to whittle that down. All right, now an elk fawn shows up. An elk fawn does show up, but it's not going to... Well, it's not going to come onto the board unless we play a bullfrog to kill the pronghorn. Then the elk fawn would come down. It would hit the bullfrog, but the bullfrog survives. And then the elk fawn moves to the right. No, but it doesn't, because the mole is going to move here, right? This is the burrower is going to get in the way of those plans. So maybe I'm not killing the pronghorn. Yeah, I think I'm just going to draw from my deck here. Nice top deck. All right, because we have the 2 bones in play. Or we have those 2 bones, so anytime I draw my death card, I can just play it. So we need to dig into the deck here. And this is where I will ask, because I actually don't want to kill the pronghorn. If I kill the pronghorn, then the elk fawn comes into play, and now it hatches. I'm not able to kill it because it moves over above the golden pelt. Let's just pass. Now this is going to... Yeah, the mole is going to move, but at least this turn, the elk fawn doesn't come into play. The pronghorn will move, and then next turn, the elk fawn comes into play. But then maybe we have the elk fawn trapped where we can kill it. Okay. And now we dig into our deck. Because again, I'm not playing anything this turn, right? I still don't want to play onto the board. I'd rather just... If I play anything, it's going to be my death card. And I would play it... probably right here so that it kills, or I could play it where it's hitting face. Actually, that's probably the better play now that I think of it. Let's actually do that, because if I play this over here, now it's hitting face. SM Orc, just go face, and the mole will be out of here because the stunted wolf attacks first. The death card gets to go face for 3, and now I don't really care about this pronghorn and this elk fawn over here because I'm just winning the race. Well, on the other hand, I'm not winning. Oh, I forgot the elk fawn moves because the mole is out of here. So this even works no matter whatever way I slice it. This is working. I think I do have you this time. All right, so he's trying to surrender, but we never accept surrender because there's still value to be had. There's teeth to be collected. And collect those teeth we shall. Because theoretically, we might visit the trapper once again. But not before we get to our first boss. Not until the prospector has been dealt with again. We are going to get to see what happens when we go to a knapsack item pickup while having full items. Which I'm not sure if I've done before. Ooh. Oh, wait a second. I thought this was a death card for a second. It's not a death card. No, it is not a death card. I mean, it's sort of a death card because it is a portrait of some other poor soul. Reginald. I don't think we've had Reginald in our deck before. But I don't think it's what I want to add to the deck here. At the same time, I do have these pelts that are going to create bones. So another Bones card could be okay. It's a 1/3 with Death Touch. Maybe I need to have more Death Touch creatures. That could be an answer to these problematic, like the one that killed us in the last run. The fight that killed us was a Moose Buck and Mole Man on turn 1. Reginald would deal pretty well with both of those, wouldn't he? The only problem is 3 bones. Bit of an issue. But maybe it's still... I think I might give this a try. I like the Wolf Cub. It's a nice aggressive option, but if we're thinking to that later game, the later stages of the game, having the ability, we just need to make sure we're generating bones. But I think we can do it. Let's try Reginald and see how that goes. So what does happen here? The amount of items you can carry is 3, and you have 3. Instead, perhaps you'll accept this gift from my friend. Ah, we do get something? What the hell? Oh, you're giving us a card. Do I have to take it? Do I have to take it? I think I have to take it. It's a Pack Rat. It's not a bad card. And maybe in our deck, getting to constantly use an item every fight, or at least a fight where we know we're going to play a Pack Rat, it might not be the worst thing. So, okay, you go to the knapsack and you get a Pack Rat. All right. Again, I don't think I have an option. I have to take this card. I can't even snuff out one of my own candles in response. But okay, the Prudent Pack Rat. Never doubt the utility of a well-stocked pack. We never got to play the Pack Rat before when we added it to our deck, although I think we sacrificed it and gave its sigil to something else. But even then, I don't know if we played its card. We'll see if the Pack Rat ends up being useful this time. Okay, give me that smoke. Greater smoke. And once again, the trees closing tight around you, creating an impenetrable breeze. Or wait, what was that word? The only way out was forward. What is an impenetrable breeze? I don't know what the other word was there, but I did not read that sentence correctly. And the hobbled shape of a man stood in that way. Yeehaw! Got any gold in that there skull? Let me crack it open and take a look. Boss time, eh? Our favorite time. Does he always line up the pack mule and the coyote over here? Seems like a pretty good bet. We have the Pack Rat, so this would not be a terrible time to go ahead and just play a... Oh, and the Greater Smoke is another way for us to get bones. If we were going to use an item here, what would we use? Probably the Squirrel Potion. Probably just the Squirrel Potion. We could even, like, get the Pack Rat into play by using the Squirrel Potion. But at the same time, I could just get a Stoat into play. I think I want to do that. Let's just get a Stoat into play. Because this has Stinky. It's going to make the Coyote deal a little less damage. And that's all we do for now. Maybe I should have done the Greater Smoke. But I think it's fine. I probably should have done the Greater Smoke. But at the same time, knowing the way this fight works and the fact that we have a Phase 2, I almost want to just save the Death card for Phase 2. I almost just kind of want to leave. The only thing is, we're not killing the Pack Mule if we do that. Maybe I should be killing the Pack Mule. It's a tough one. If I play Akinar now, thing is, I can't really play Akinar now super nicely because, well, the Pack Mule is going to move after this Coyote dies, and then I'm not killing the Pack Mule all that easily. Although the Pack Mule would come back, wouldn't it? Because the Coyote would be over here. Let's go ahead and draw a card from our deck. Yeah, I don't want to be playing a ton of stuff here. Maybe I just play the pack rat, because we get an item back if we do that. Let's use the squirrel here. This might be a little wasteful, I'm not sure, but I'm gonna do this, and I'm gonna sack these two to play the pack rat. And we're gonna play it over here, so it starts chipping away at the mule. And it gives us a scissors in return. Okay, so we can just delete an opponent's card at any time. Don't need to do that just yet. Don't need to do that just yet. I do need to worry a little bit, though, about this. Well, maybe. Maybe I need to worry about this coyote, maybe not. I think for the moment, I don't worry about it. I'm just going to draw another card from my deck. We get a rabbit pelt. Okay, I can just put this right here, and that'll save me some face damage. Now, this pack mule is going to go ahead and give me its cards when it dies to the pack rat. And then the scale is still slightly tilted away. Yeah, let's just keep drawing into our deck here. And we can hold on to these cards now. We're in a good enough position, I think. We're gonna get a whole bunch of cards from pack as well. You coward! That mule was defenseless! Why did you let it roam out onto the board? You should have thought about that. Alright. Ooh. The mantis would be actually a pretty good play here to just take out both of these coyotes. I think that's what we do. And maybe that's the only thing I play, because the mantis just sort of kills him on its own, and then we transition into phase 2. And then we have a whole bunch of flipping cards. I think I like that. Let's draw a squirrel. And then we will simply sacrifice the stoat to the mantis to put him in its place. That feels very nice. Oh, and the mantis is not moving now because it lost the buff. Well, we got it from the pack mule. So it doesn't have the buff that it had last run, where it was just constantly moving around the board. Now, he does play another card here, the mole, but that's fine, because right now, he's just dying to the mule. So I'm going to keep drawing from my deck. I said he's dying to the mule. He's dying to the mantis. We've drawn through our deck. Oh, yeah, that's right. The mole moves into both places. That's fine. We're going to find out here very quickly if there is such a thing as a maximum hand size, because right now I have 10 cards, which would be the max in Slay the Spire. So far, there is no maximum hand size, or we have not hit it. And I'm just going to be very happy to allow this to pass all the way to... This should be a very easy fight at this point. Nothing really to think about, I don't think, with this full of a hand. This many options, the Prospector is not going to be around for long. It's got a Bloodhound coming into play, and we have infinite cards. So the Bloodhound, now we just go ham, right? I have both Reginald and Akinar that the Death Touch cards, but I don't even need to play those, right? I can just play this, and I can play the Stunted Wolf, and that's the most face damage that I can do. Let's just do that. Actually, we win. We just win. I don't get extra teeth. That's the only thing maybe I could have done differently there. Maybe I should have tried to maximize my tooth value. But we went for the... Yeah, that would have been one reason to put a 1 power there into play. Oh well. We get our candle back. Prospector, easy fight. Undefeated against the Prospector, right? And we get a rare card. What do we have this time? This is the regular amoeba. We got like the stitched together mycologist, the shroom, horrifying Frankenstein version of the amoeba. This time, it's just a 1/2 for 2 bones with that question mark sigil. That's probably not what we're going to be choosing because we already have 2 bones cards in the deck. This one's new, though. The Holy Mantis God, a perfect incarnation of terror. Look at this. A 1 mana 1/1 that has trifurcated strike. That's kind of amazing. Or at least it would seem so. If you put a little bit of health on this thing, Imagine the damage. At the same time, there's our buddy Steve. So, I'm not sure that we can afford Steve. We have no goats, and that's a big deal. I think we were able to cheat Steve out in a few instances, primarily due to the presence of goats. The trifurcated strike is a very aggressive early option, and that would be a great option to put Waterborne on. I wish we had a Waterborne creature. And then we could go and sacrifice that and put that on the Mantis God. I think I'm still going to try this Mantis God because going 3 damage in 3 different directions feels like it could be quite useful. There are certainly going to be instances where it's not useful because you'd rather just have the 3 damage going in one direction. So we'll see. But I'm going to try this one. It's new, and we're going to see how it goes. Cool. On to Act 2. Sound of the Prospector's pickaxe still ringing in your ears. You carry onward. Bring on those wetlands. Hideous swarm of insects gathered around you. Reptiles slipped and slithered around your feet. You were now engulfed by the wetlands. There's a chance. There's our chance to upgrade or to infuse. Yeah, we actually have a sacrifice and then a card removal up here, or a sacrifice, one or the other. So I'm going to go to the left. I don't have any specific reason to take a particular tribe, so I'm just going to take the card. The regular old question mark card pickup. A cockroach. I haven't seen this one before. Or maybe I have, actually. Because now I do vaguely remember Unkillable as a sigil. When a card bearing this sigil perishes, a copy of it is created in your hand. That's pretty interesting. And it sort of fuels itself with the whole... It does cost 4 bones, and it's only a 1/1. It's an interesting effect, though. There's a bullfrog, and it would be our first duplicate. And a moose buck. Our first 3-cost card that we could pick up. A 3-cost card might be a little bit more manageable for us. Now that our deck is pretty full of 1-cost cards, I might be in the market for a moose buck. We did not see a mycologist stop coming up, I don't think. So we would have to wait a little bit to upgrade this bullfrog, and even then we would only be getting a 1-mana 2/4. Which is okay. But I think the one that I want here is the moose buck. I'm not sure my deck can afford a cockroach, and it's also just a 1/1. That's going to cost me 4 bones. And I already have other cards that I want to pay my bones to get those cards into play. There's no denying, though, the value over the long game could be very nice. But we're not dying to lack of value in most instances, it feels like. We're dying because we're not able to ramp quickly enough to match what the enemy is putting out at us. Now, I don't know if the moose buck helps us in that regard, because that is still kind of a slow card. But it feels better than having a 1/1. I'm going to try it. Let's definitely sacrifice, though. The only question is what? What are we sacrificing? Oh, we could sacrifice the Mantis God. I hadn't thought about that. Put Trifurcated Strike on something that's more powerful, like our Death card? Oh my god. Oh my god. Does it let us do that? Yes, it would. Holy crap. A Trifurcated Strike on a 3/4 that you could get into play extremely early. Or we could just put it on the wolf. That's another option. The wolf as a 2/6. That might even be better because... it doesn't die as quickly. That 6 health, it stays in place so much longer. That's got to be the play, doesn't it? The other potential option here is to sacrifice Reginald and give it to the Mantis God, a Trifurcated Death Touch. That may, or the other way around. Give Reginald the trifurcated strike. Holy crap, there are some ways that you could do this. Which one do I like? I certainly like the fact that the Mantis God only costs the one sacrifice. I can get this into play so much more easily or guaranteed than Reginald. And the fact that it hits 3 things and just deletes them all instantly, that's got to be the play. I know it only has 1 health, right? And so that the fragility of the 1 life, that would certainly be a target that we would want to upgrade at the campfire. Get this guy 1 more infusion of health, and then we don't take any chances trying to put him to 5 health. I think that's the way I want to go. Because this 3 bones cost is... There's going to be some times where we can't quite get this thing into play as quickly as we need it to. Let's do it. So let me make sure I do this in the right order. The one that I'm sacrificing is Reginald, right? Reginald is the one that's going to get nixed. And then we infuse the Mantis God. That seems so good to me. That's got to be good, right? Right, guys? Let me just make sure here. Death Touch. This has got to be good. We'll find out. Oh, what the hell did we just put on it? What in the world was that? It looked like we gave it an eye. Touch of Death. Is this just the Mantis God art? The Mantis God's eye... Ah, right, because when we infuse or inscribe a card, the eyes light up. The Mantis God's eye is not down here. It's above its head. It's like its 3rd eye. So it gets a super cool inscription bonus. All right, I want to get this thing into play. Let's see if we can actually draw this thing now. Sure enough, opening hand. Oh, carry on. I know what I'm trying to get into play here, and look at this. The opponent. Oh my God, you got to be kidding me. Countered. Of course he would play Kingfishers. The one card that I absolutely cannot interact with at all. Of course he would do that. I might use an item here because I do have a pack rat. But I am going to play a Mantis God because not only that, yeah, the whole Death Touch thing is cool, but it still hits for 3, which is really good. And we're going to need to be in a race situation because of these Kingfishers. So Mantis God comes down over here because he's not going to get killed, right? Because the flyers will just go over him. Doesn't have reach. But he is going to kill the Sparrow once it comes down into play. In the meantime, he'll do 3 face damage. Okay. Now that gets counteracted by the 3 from the flyers, but there's no more cards after this. So now is when we draw some squirrels so that we can potentially play our pack rat. I could maybe just go ahead and delete the... I assume I would be able to delete one of the waterborne creatures, but also I don't know if I have to. But if I'm just playing the pack rat, I would like to get that value. I could just hit him for lethal here. That's another option. Nope, I take it back because the Mantis God is killing the Sparrow. So even if I played the Stunted Wolf here, that would be 4. But then I would be kind of hitting him for uber lethal the next turn. Maybe that's fine. Just save our item here. Let's save our item. And we'll just go with the quick win. And nothing to be done other than get uber lethal. Never mind, there is something to be done. Give me those teeth. Excellent. My cup overfloweth. All right. Let's choose our card. We see that there is a sacrifice option on either side. And man, I don't really want any of these. I can't sacrifice them. I can't sacrifice any of them. Man, I don't really want any of these. I can sacrifice, though, by removing. I was going to say, when you go to the sacrificial altar, you are limited on what you can remove from your deck. It has to be something with a sigil, or multiple sigils, maybe. Could you remove your Mantis God if you wanted? And put all of its sigils on something else? You could get a potentially very, very, very powerful combination of things if that's the way that works. I don't remember, though, if that's how that works. I think, though, what we would do is we would probably just take the Grizzly and then sacrifice it at the card removal option. Just take the most expensive card you can. Maybe I even sacrifice the Moose Buck just to get a 3-drop out of my deck. I think that might be the pick. I'd rather kind of have the Grizzly, if I'm being honest. I'm still not that much of a fan of these cards that move around. But we have started to see there are some instances where they are useful. But I do kind of like the stat distribution better on a Grizzly. A 4-6 feels better than 3-7. I'm going to take the Grizzly. And then we're probably going to just remove. Go to the left and remove. Oh, and this is the way to the trader as well. Perfect. Yeah, this is definitely the way we want to go. And we get an altar on this side as well. Yes, the path to the left was definitely the choice. Cool. The only downside here is that if I remove the Moose Buck, that is a potential combination of sigils that I'm not giving to something else. But I think that's fine because I'd actually rather remove this Pack Rat and move that over to some other early game option like the Wolf Cub, or the what was this guy called? The Tainted Wolf? What was the name of this guy? He's got his little periods there, his little dialogue or lack of dialogue, instead of his name in this instance. But like I said, what I'm going to do is I'm going to sacrifice the 3-drop. I don't know if sacrificing a 3-7, will that be a more beneficial or a stronger boon? I don't think so, because I think I probably would have to sacrifice a rarer card. I think maybe it might depend on rarity. If I were to sacrifice this Pack Rat, perhaps I would get a much stronger boon, or the Mantis God. But let's find out. I suspect if I do the Moose Buck here, I'm only going to get the bones, the boon that I've gotten previously, which is just to give me an extra bone at the start of the fight. Which is not the worst, it lets me get my death card into play sooner. But if nothing else, I am taking this card out of the deck, which is kind of what I want to do, no matter what. All right, and we do, in fact, get the minor boon of the Bone Lord. Okay, something tells me we've got to do a rare card sacrifice to get something more powerful. Or maybe sacrifice an inscribed card. Maybe that would also get you a more powerful boon. All right, let's do the powered up fight, the elite. We get... Oh, that's a pretty rough combination. The tail on the insects. Okay, so we've got some bees that we're not going to be able to kill right away. We're not going to be able to kill them right away. Is it only the one? If this works the way that I think it does, it's the way that we had it before. We were able to give loose tail with our totem to one of our creatures, but then it lost that totem benefit after it sacrificed the tail one time. I'm hoping that's going to be the case here. All right, for the moment, I think we probably just play our Bullfrog to save some damage. And then maybe we can think about using an item and getting our Pack Rat into play on the following turn. We have the scissors to just delete one of these things. And maybe that's what I should do before I... Well, one way or the other, I'm going to play the Bullfrog just to save the face damage. And I'll play it... I don't know if it matters where I play it. I'm going to play it right here. Okay, so now there's a bee lined up over here. If we wanted, I could play... So I could take the scissors to this bee right here. So let's see, how's this going to work? Left to right is the way this works. So I think because let's say that I draw, oh, okay. If I draw a squirrel, which is probably what I need to do, I think no matter what I'm drawing a squirrel, the question is only, am I playing a pack rat this turn? As opposed to playing just letting the bullfrog do its thing. Because if I let the bullfrog do its thing, this bee is going to move. I think it's going to spawn a tail here, and it's going to move over to this side. So maybe what I should do is just delete this bee and go face. That would actually be an option. It would be to play my scissors. Let me actually do that, I think. Let's play, well, I could also just wait to get the grizzly in play. I could do that as well. I do want to get my item from the pack rat, though. So I'm going to delete this bee. And now we're going to play our pack rat. And I'll put it over here on the side. And that gave us a piggy bank with bones. All right, we won't need that this fight, but that could be very useful to get our death card in play early. So this also has the benefit, though, of keeping this bee behind the other bee. And so he's only hitting us for 1. Now you have a mantis coming down, which is annoying. The mantis is definitely on the annoying side here because our pack rat is just going to die for free. It is going to do 2 more face damage, which is not bad. But it is going to die to the mantis and the bullfrog. And then we'll take 1 additional from this bee. And we won't get any sacrifice value out of the pack rat. But even if I draw a squirrel this turn, I'm not getting sacrifice value from the pack rat, as it is. So I think I'm just going to draw a card. We get the Mantis God. That's huge. I think I might just stand pat this turn. We'll tilt the scale by 2. But then we're going to let all these guys come down, and we're going to get triple value from the Mantis God. And we're not going to be close to dying, right? It's going to be fine. The pack rat will bite the dust, but that's okay. Because we can draw a squirrel, and the Mantis God comes down, and everything is fine. And I think because his board is full, like, the tail thing is not going to come into play. I think. I don't know for sure, though. This beehive, on the other hand, should still be okay with the trifurcated strike. I don't know. Because it's actually going to move. This is weird. Having bees that has the loose tail on it is actually going to make it move away, and it's not going to get the bees within proc. Interesting. Okay, so one way or the other, we're playing our Mantis God. Now, there is maybe a world here where you could line up... No, I want to do it. I'm gonna kill all 3 of these. I was thinking maybe I'd put the Mantis here and kill this stump, but I need to take away as much damage as I can. Man, this is so powerful of a card. Holy crap. Oh, but that's how that works. No. No. Wait a second. Oh, of course, because it's left to right. It's left to right. I completely misplayed because I don't yet understand how the game works. And now I'm screwed. Wow. Unbelievable. I am such a dingus. I think the only way that I win this now is by actually using this knife. And I think I will use it because we might as well, because we have a pack rat. But I completely misplayed that because if I'd have thought about things, I would have realized that the trifurcated strike is going to actually kill the bee first, which gives a place for the mantis to move. the Mantis did in fact move, and so it was able to line up a kill against the Mantis God. The Mantis God was eaten by one of its own. Can I just use this? I need to draw first. There is a rabbit pelt, but I think I'm just going to use the knife now because it tilts it by 5, correct? And that should win the game for us. I think it tilts it by 5, but if I'm wrong about this, then I'm just wasting an item. It also gives us a chance to replace our eye. It only goes by 4. Oh, it only goes by 4. Dang it. Well, okay. That's still something, but we've also played like the most powerful card in our deck. And man, this really sucks. Not playing your cards correctly does in fact suck, guys. And now I have this Grizzly that's just a dead card that does absolutely nothing for me. Man, I think we're dead, regardless of using our item. We were going to get that item back because we have a... I think I have to keep drawing from my deck here. I don't know what saves me. I don't know what saves me here. The Golden Pelt is not a bad start. Although the flyer still goes right over it. Okay, the Stunted Wolf actually could do something here, right? And maybe I should have played the Wolf. Because... Is it too late? It might not be too late. This might have been a misplay not to play the Wolf last turn. Because the Golden Pelt was not actually blocking the flyer like I thought it was going to do. Misplays are being made. Misplays are being made. Man, we've got a big old pile of bones over here. And this is one instance where it would have been probably better for us to have buffed Reginald. Put the death or the trifurcated strike onto Reginald. And then he would have lived because the Mantis wouldn't have killed him. But in this case, we get overkill on both the Mantis and the bee in the back, and this does not get the value from the loose tail, I don't think. So we might still be able to salvage this. It's possible. There's a chance. If that chance does exist. So far, he hasn't played any new cards. We're balancing the scale back in our favor if we do this. I think we just keep drawing squirrels now to play our Grizzly. Deep breath. Maybe if the opponent plays no more cards. I mean, honestly, we could just not play any cards at all and we would just win. If he doesn't have anything left. And it does seem like we get to that point where the opponent just doesn't have anything left. Now, actually, at this point, I would want to draw from my deck because I need the board space. That was another reason to draw from the deck, would be to just play my death card. I can play the beehive here, but then he does play a bee. But at the same time, I now have a 3/4 in play. That also has Stinky and Reach. So that bee wouldn't necessarily matter, although it would probably come down into this column. But I think that's okay because I'm now going to be tilting the scale back enough in my favor. I could also just play a Grizzly, and then he would go to 4, or he would take 4, and then there'd be 1, but then we would have exact lethal on the next turn. So I actually would, if I want to get surplus lethal here, it's probably better to play my death card, and then we chill. After all of this, we might survive. Because, wait a second. Did I just pick up a B card? It gives me the B, not the opponent. What? And on top of that, It has his sigil buff, his totem buff. What? Why does it work like that? I would never in a million years have guessed that I get the B. How does that make any sense? It also doesn't really matter because I'm going to hit him for 5 here, and then we're just going to have uber lethal on the following turn. So everything is fine. But I'm so confused. Why did that work the way? Why did it work that way? I will wait and play the B next turn because I want to push for 5 this turn. The B hits me for 1. And now I can play... I draw a squirrel. And now I can play the B over here as for an extra damage. All right, we survived, guys. Even though I... Remember, kids, don't be a dingus. We did lose an eye in the process. I don't know if it was... I think it did save us. The eye, I think, definitely helped. We get offered this one again. I mean, I kind of want to take this again, but also I want to see what happens when we take a regular eye. But also, who knows? Like, we could see some new stuff with this. We got to take the Ancestral Vision. We got to do it. It still has the message about the cuckoo clock. Okay. Happy with that one? I think I am happy for now. But let me first take a look around the room just to see if there is anything new to see. We've done what we can already do with this, right? There's nothing more to do with the cuckoo clock. There is still just a 1 here. I was kind of thinking that maybe this would have changed. And that might be a reason to pick the Ancestral Vision. We still have this, which says keep sealed. But I don't want to keep it sealed forever. I want to do something with it. Let's at least pick up more teeth, I guess. I wonder if we could solve this puzzle now. Now that I have some more experience with bifurcated striking, I still don't know if it's enough to actually get me anywhere. We get to go to the trader, though, which means we actually get some cards for our lowly pelts. I am anticipating some extraordinary pelts. Well, we'll see. Let's find out. Hair pelts. All right, I have to make the exchanges, don't I, right? There's no getting around it. Because you could think, you know, theoretically, there's a world where a rabbit pelt that's just for free might be better as just a temporary chump blocker. That might be better than some card that you actually have to pay a sacrifice for. Could be. Now, in this case, what do we want to get? Ooh, Rat King. The Rat King has Bone King. I don't think we want to take that because we just don't have enough Bones cards in our deck. We actually only have the 1 now. We may want to take a Possum, but that's just such a weak... Like, yeah, it's a Bones card, but it's a 1/1. Field Mice. That's right. We get the unending Field Mice. But you could... Don't we have a sacrifice coming up? We could take Field Mice and apply its sigil to something else so that you would just keep getting infinite copies of something much better than a 2-mana 2/2. That wouldn't be the worst thing to put on our death card. That would certainly be a Bones payoff. I think I might do that. There is this black goat that's here, which is definitely useful. It has been useful to ramp up into our more expensive creatures, but we only have the Grizzly now. We don't have Steve in the deck. I think I like the idea of sacrificing the Field Mice to give to the death card. Probably the death card. Because then that just keeps copying it. And if we have enough bones, like as a top deck later in the game, Having this card that just puts a copy of itself back into your hand lets you spend your bones. That seems so potent to me. This is the bones sink that we've been looking for. We take Field Mice. And now we get a rare card. Golden Pelt. Magnificent. Oh, we could go with another Pack Rat. Or we could take the Mole Man. I think I might take the Mole Man here because it sure feels like we maybe sometimes lack cheap defensive options. You need to sometimes give yourself the time to draw into your better stuff. I feel like we have really good stuff in the deck. We've got a Grizzly. We've got our Death card. We've got the Mantis God. We've got these very powerful offensive options. The Strange Larva doesn't really help us get to those defensive options. It's more of a offensive payoff. We have a Pack Rat already. I think it's the Mole Man. A 1-mana 0/6 ain't too bad. Like, it doesn't do any killing on its own, but it gives you the time that you need to start doing your own killing. And look at that wonderfully cheesy grin. Who could resist? Let's try the Mole Man. These are exquisite. My thanks. I am feeling much, much better about this run so far. It feels like the power level in our deck is a substantial step forward from what we've had previously, especially if we get to do what I'm hoping we can do here, which is to sacrifice the Field Mice. Yes. Unintentional rhyme, but I think this makes perfect sense. Having an infinite bones sink feels absolutely beautiful to me. Let's do it. And also, it's a pretty good card. Stinky Reach is another good defense against flyers. I like it. Ooh, man. I'm starting to feel pretty good about this deck. We're going to get a card upgrade as well coming up, which I'm hoping is health that we can put on our Mantis God. There he is. There is the man of the hour. Well, maybe the man of the hour maybe is the Mole Man. What do we have coming down the pike? Bees. Aha. Well, guess what I have for those bees? Do I have some answers for bees? I actually have all the answers for bees. My goodness, this Bullfrog is a good one too. We're going to sacrifice, actually, because we're going to sacrifice a squirrel this turn. We're going to draw a squirrel next turn, and we're going to have a Mole Man and a Bullfrog and a Death card in play. Life is going to be oh so good. The Mole Man also moves. The Mole Man's actually going to block both of these flyers, isn't he? Because he moves around as the attacks go left to right. Everything happens sequentially. It doesn't all happen in parallel. So you have to consider this order of operations left to right that happens during every combat. Wait a minute. Oh, I could afford Akinar now. Oh, why did I think I was going to have to wait until next turn? Never mind. Well, I mean, that's even more reason. Just slap this guy down here, and then I think we're actually hitting for lethal next turn. Boom. And we get another one in our hand. This is crazy. Okay, we're doing things now, guys. I think our deck is finally doing what it's meant to do. Oh, we don't even take any damage either because we have Stinky. That's amazing. I'm drawing a squirrel. We are hitting for lethal, aren't we? No, we're not. But that's okay. Because we're drawing a squirrel. And we're going to sack that squirrel to a Bullfrog. And we're going to be close. Oh, so close to lethal. On the following turn. And we're going to get some extra teeth, I think. That was kind of weird. Like, it queued up the attack with the bee there, and then it kind of, like, stunned, or it hesitated for a moment. Wonder what that was about. Okay, nothing really to do. I don't think we can actually do anything but just kill the enemy, so we'll go ahead and do that. Seems good. And moving right along to a tribal pickup, tribal card selection, which I don't think really necessarily benefits us in any way, other than if you have knowledge of the cards and you know like on average, what kind of insect you're getting or what kind of elk or reptile. Now that we have a little bit of experience with maybe a random elk could be good. We could get an elk itself. We could get an elk fawn. Those would both be okay options. The insects tend to be a little weaker. And there's the potential for ants, which we have no synergy with. So it's probably not an insect. The reptiles could give us things like rattlers, but we don't really want those because we kind of have a bones payoff now. So I think the elk is the one that makes sense. Maybe we get something like Subject 13 in some rare instances. But I think the elks are probably the safest bet. And we do get the nascent fawn. It quickly grows into an elk. I'm fine with that. Elk fawn is a perfectly serviceable 1-drop. And we get to do an upgrade. Health. Health. I'd love to see health here. We're going to do a power upgrade instead. All right. Power upgrade it is. Now you could throw that power onto the mole man. That's pretty decent. Actually get him to do something. And maybe you even like take a risk and go for a 2-power upgrade. We could get an upgrade to the Mantis God. We don't need the upgrade, obviously, for the Death Touch. But having that additional power to swing for face when it's not, the trifurcated strike is not running into a creature, that extra face damage could be very nice. A 1-mana 3/6 would also be a very reasonable thing to do. Upgrading an Elk Fawn, turning it into a 2/1 that then turns into a 3/4. There's some good options here. Which one do I think is the best one? I think the Mole Man staying at a 0/6. I'm much more interested in moving the attack power from like 1 to 2 than from 0 to 1. And in the case of the Mantis God, it's more like changing the attack power from 3 to 6 potentially. Like you could just get lethal on turn 1 in some cases before the enemy can do anything about it. That's so very powerful. At least it feels like it. But also it only has 1 health. Man, one more campfire upgrade to give health to the Mantis God, and this thing could be the most broken thing in our deck. And that maybe is the way you're supposed to play this game, is you try to get 1 card that just wins you the run. Or 2 cards that just win you the run. Rather than spreading out your buffs among a whole bunch of different cards. The thing is, once you run into a fight where if you don't draw that 1 card that you need, your deck is too big and you just bottom deck the Mantis God or whatever your card that you're relying on to win, it's risky. I'll go ahead and upgrade though in this case. That extra face damage is too tempting. Keep it right there, said one survivor. The creature could become more powerful, but the survivors looked hungrier by the second. I am not pushing my luck this time. I'm taking this Mantis God. There's no way that I'm going to take the chance that this thing is just deleted out of nowhere. Give me that card. I want it. Okay, I also want a rematch with the Angler. Let's do it here. And let's, we now know that apparently, unless... Well, let's read the dialogue first. What you first mistook for a misshapen boulder appeared to be a hulking man. You attempted to sneak past him, but your foot made contact with a metal bucket. I love that. The music when it kicks in for the Angler is just so good. This is one of the best music tracks so far in the game. All right, our opening hand is reasonable. We've got some good early curve for us to draw into things. And the Kingfisher here is not going to be hitting us if we have the Mole Man in play. So I think it's probably okay for us. We're not going to be bum rushing him on turn 1. And we know now that even if we kill him on turn 2, we're just getting We are just getting... What am I trying to say? We're not going to be getting the board full of grizzlies. That seemed to be a one-time event. So the question here is, how do I set things up for when I know there's going to be bait buckets hitting the board? I could think about playing my fawn, which would... It would unfortunately kill a bait bucket, and then it would move out of the way and not soak the hit from the shark, which could be bad because the shark would then be hitting us. But I do have to remember, I've got some items over here. I've got a hook in particular, and we could hook a shark. So that might be how I do this. I might go ahead and... Oh, but I do have the mole man. That could block the shark, right? The mole man blocks the shark. Maybe we save that for phase 2. We need to get to phase 2. So we probably start by... How do we start here? I think I do... I put the elk fawn into play. Or I could keep the greater smoke in play for a little bit and then sacrifice it right before the end. How do I do this? There's so many ways to play this, potentially. So many ways. In this case, I'm just going to play out the most... I guess this is the most aggressive hand, kind of. Or at least, it's the second most aggressive hand. The Elk Fawn takes a little bit to pay off. But I think this is fine. Another Kingfisher on the way. Oh, and of course, we've got this, the hook. I did not think, we've done this fight how many times now, and I didn't even think about the hook. But I guess I've internalized that the hook doesn't matter because I just play a squirrel and it's fine. I'm going to play a squirrel over here because that means I take less damage. Oh, no, it doesn't mean I take less damage. Wait a minute. Oh, because Kingfishers don't hit the squirrel. Right, exactly. That's what I thought. That's what I was thinking. The Kingfisher has flying. It goes over the squirrel gets hooked. Everything is good. And now we hit him for lethal, right? That does mean we're going to get 2 bait buckets in play. The greater smoke is going to die to the shark that gets spawned by the bait bucket. The elk is going to kill the bait bucket and move. So then we'll be getting hit for 4. Unless I play the mole man. But I want to play the mole man after he spawns the bait buckets. That's the thing. So I want to draw a squirrel here. But we just passed the turn. And then I'll probably draw from my deck next turn. I think this clears his board, right? It clears his board, and then he puts the bait buckets in play. Go fish. Okay. I think this is fine. Let's draw from our deck. There's our bones card, which is what I was wanting to see. Because now that lets me be a little more aggressive. So I can play the mole. Oh, the elk is going to die if I do it like this. But that might be okay. Because we're just killing him on the following turn. Mole man goes into play. Does the mole man even go into play, or do I just kill him? I think I can do more than lethal here if I can actually do it like... Oh, I can sacrifice the mole man to put the stunted wolf in play. One way or the other, I think this is fine. Go fish, he says. His favorite words. The elk can't move, gets eaten by the shark, but that gives me bones to play more death cards, and we just win. I have to draw. This replenishable, oh my god, the value that we're getting from this card, holy crap. Holy crap. We have some powerful cards in our deck. I'm starting to feel better about our chances going into the Snowlands here. We also got a crap ton of teeth. Let's go. Let me relight your candles. We get a rare card reward as well. Perhaps one of these will entice you. Let's see. Do we get a duplicate even? We do. We actually got a duplicate pack rat. There's also a duplicate mole man. What the junk? And I have no words for this freak of nature. A long elk. 4 bones, but it's a 1/2 with death touch and it moves. It has sprinter. Ooh. But we already have our bones payoff in the deck. And we could take a duplicate, which would allow us to go to the gynecologists. I mean, the mycologists. And, a 1 mana 0/12. A 1 mana 0/12. You know, even if I just had 2 1 mana 0/6s in my deck, I wouldn't feel the worst, because that's a lot of stall potential. It's got reach. The flyers can't go over it. It moves to block them. This is a really good card, guys. And I don't think I need another pack rat in my deck. I don't think so. I do have a piggy bank of bones. This long elk wouldn't be the worst. Also, what in the world is the art on this? It says it's a long elk. It looks sort of like it's a bridge. A really rickety, worn down, about to collapse footbridge. But long elk? Is this literally like its body? Because it's just so long that it kind of looks like a snake or a centipede that has stretched across the entire card. He did say it was a monstrosity. Interesting. I'm tantalized by this elk, but I don't think our deck needs it, especially when we have a Mantis God. I think I just want time to draw to my good cards. Another Mole Man makes so much sense to me. Let's make it happen. All right, the Angler's foul smell slowly faded as you continued on. A moment. Sheets of icy snow battered your body as you fought your way up to a vantage point. The snow-covered trees jutted from the landscape like prickly, misplaced teeth. You continued on through the snow line. Okay, we have an event coming up, and then we have more card combination that we can do, and another event. There is also a trip to the Trapper that could be on the line if we go to the left, but then we're only getting items when we already have 2, and then we'd have to enter into a tough fight on top of that. I'm kind of down for just continually thinning our deck. I'm also going to quickly step up from the table just to go over here and check for teeth. Yep, sure enough. So we do have a lot of teeth. A lot of teeth in our stockpile. But of course, grabbing golden pelts from the Trapper is not exactly thinning our deck. If we are sacrificing here, our deck is only 10 cards at the moment, which feels awesome. If we were sacrificing, we're probably going to sacrifice the Pack Rat, right? We give this to a much cheaper card, so we can get our items back more easily. Like give it to the Stoat, although the Stoat's already inscribed. So we'd have to probably give it to the Bullfrog or the Elk Fawn, or maybe the Tainted Wolf. One of those would be perfectly fine. Because if anything, I might want to sacrifice the Bullfrog or the Elk Fawn to give them a, like, being able to upgrade the Mole Man might be fun. Turn that into something else after a turn. The fact that it moves, I don't know. I do not know, but, I mean, we could just put the Pack Rat on the Mole Man. Let's do it. We have to do our event first, though. Let's do our event, and then we'll see where we stand. We get offered Trial of Kin. 2 of the 3 drawn cards must be kin to pass. Oh, I don't think we're in a good shape or in a good spot for that. Trial of Power once again. and the Trial of Wisdom, which probably is the one that we're going to pick. Everything in our deck has sigils, except for the Grizzly and the Wolf, and we have multiple sigils on lots of things. It's got to be the sigils, right? Health is not a bad one for us either. Oh, but it's power. Power is... We're in a reasonable spot with power. We have to get to 4. So we could... but we have Mole Men. We have 2 Mole Men. So I think it's sigils. That's the one that gives us the best shot to win. Now, once again, the reward for this is a card in our deck, right? And so is there ever a world where you pick the one that you think you're going to fail? And that is the way that you kind of like skip? You skip by saying, I don't actually want a new card in my deck. My deck is strong enough already. I think we do get pretty strong cards from these events, but I don't know. It's an interesting thing to think about. We actually get 3 from our death card. My goodness. It does count every single sigil. We easily pass that trial. Easy, easy. But yeah, we do get inscribed cards when we win an event. So the skunk has, it's a 1 mana 0/3 with Stinky and Rabbit Hole. That's not bad. It does give us a rabbit. So it kind of pays for itself. It does clog up a board space, but the Stinky is not a bad effect as a defensive option. If I am going to pick one of these cards, which I guess I have to, I think I'm probably leaning toward the skunk. Bees Within is on the Worker Ant. Once a card bearing the sigil is struck, a bee is created in your hand. I'm still so confused why we got the bee from the opponent's card. All right, and then a beefy, hefty raven. I think our deck doesn't need a raven nearly as much as it wants like a skunk that just continually fuels. It gives you either more bones or it allows you to play your other cards as you draw into your deck. I think the skunk makes perfect sense. Probably a strong enough card to warrant adding another card into your deck. But we're definitely steering to the right here and doing that infusion that we talked about before. Pack Rat is going to get sacrificed. Yep. And I think we just put him on a Mole Man. I don't know exactly how this is going to work when you go to combine, if you were to combine the Mole Men at the Mycologists. But I suspect it would let you keep, you would get to keep the buff, right? You're not going to lose your Pack Rat sigil. But yeah, I'm putting this on the Mole Man. Give me that cheap item from my really, really good card that I want to put into play anyways. Oh, I love how his shovel lights up. Since his eyes are closed, something on his artwork had to light up to look fancy. And the shovel was the choice. All right, now we're getting into the tougher battles here in the Snowlands, but let's see if our deck is ready for action. Unfortunately, we don't get our upgraded Mole Man. So here, we may still put him into play. Or we can get our own Elk Fawn into play. We've got 2 Elk Fawns that we're facing down. But I think this turn I would rather... Let's see how this is going to work. So the Elk Fawn is going to come down, it's going to attack, and then it's going to move, right? So you're going to have an Elk Fawn here in front of the Snowy Fur, so we won't be able to keep that from hatching. But we could kill this Elk Fawn with our own Elk Fawn. And I think that's what I will do. So for now, I will just play... Actually, the Mole Man will move, won't he? So the Mole Man is going to move over here to block this fawn, and then he'll move over here to block that fawn. So he takes 2 damage, but he saves us 2. But he saves us 2 face damage. So I think it's worth the trade. I think it's worth it. So no matter where I place him, he's just going to move around to do that blocking. Okay. Let's draw a squirrel, and we'll kill off this Elk Fawn. No. I think this is how we do this. Yep. Okay. This elk is going to come into play. There's also a rabbit here. That's odd. I feel like I've never seen the opponent play just a random rabbit or a squirrel or anything like that. I don't really need to get this bullfrog in play this turn, so I'm going to just draw from my deck. There we go. Now we're talking. Let's just throw this guy down. Throw this sucker down, get in there, spend those bones, and start going face. Nice. And then I think we win next turn, because this elk is going to move out of the way. And yes. But the rabbit is going to soak damage. Okay, never mind. So we're not winning just yet. We're not winning just yet, I don't think. Is there some world where I could... Actually, I could win, couldn't I? Because I could play my bullfrog. I have to draw, don't I? So what I'll do is I'll draw from the deck. And I can actually play the bullfrog here. I can sacrifice the elk to make room for my death card. And now I win. Maybe I was winning anyways, but now I win with 1 extra lethal. So I think this is just a better play anyways. Cool. Yay! We won a battle in the Snowlands without losing a candle or having to use an item or anything. That went so well, because we actually have good cards for once, it feels like. This is amazing. Do another event here. I am tempted to skip the event or try to lose it intentionally. But we'll play the game the way that we're meant to. I think none of these were particularly well suited for, but I guess the health we're not... Never mind, the health we're actually in a good spot for because of the mole men. So let's do the health. Trial of Health begins, and we already win with our grizzly right off the top. And of course, I forgot about our wolf as well. So we are... Some of these trials are just absolute jokes. We get to add... Ooh, wow. Oh my god, when it... Yeah, exactly, Trinket Bear. This is the same thing that we have from the Pack Rat. We can add a cat to our deck that also gives us items. That seems amazing. I think I definitely want that compared to a cockroach or an elk that gives me ants. That seems like such an easy choice. All right. The only thing that might come into play is board space, but we will see about that. Cross that bridge when we have to. We've got a campfire upgrade. And I think if... I'm hoping we get offered health. That's what I want here. Health, health, health. Yes! Nice. We are getting what I was hoping for. Let's go. I think this is a pretty easy Mantiscot upgrade. Is there anything else I could possibly want to give health to? I don't think so, man. This is like the best card in our deck. Especially if it gets 3 health. This is easily an upgrade. And we're not even, it said I considered leaving it by there for a moment. I'm not even considering it. It's just not even worth thinking about for even a split second. Keep that away from those hungry survivors that will never be, their thirst will never be sated. We could do another sacrifice as well, but there is a trip to the mycologists, which also kind of counts as a sacrifice. Do I want to do that? It would mean having a tougher fight. And also, we have the trader right now, where we don't have any cards in our deck. Or pelts in our deck, I should say. But that's also okay, because that means we're not adding anything, right? Is that how that works? Or do we still add a card to our deck, even if we go to the trader? We could get a boon if we go to this side. And we offer up... We could offer up one of our mole men to the boon lord and see what offering up a rare card does. There are some potential ways to play this. That actually sounds pretty good to me. But combining our mole men to make a 0-12 would also not be bad. I think we want to go to the left, even though it means that there's going to be a card in our deck. I guess we have to do a fight first, so we can think about it. Let's do the fight, and then figure out where we're going. Lucky draw. Nah, was it? Our Mantiscot is in hand, though. Oh my god. Now... Oh. This is the one spot where the Mantis God is not going to be able to save us fully on his own, but we will have a skunk to help us out. Although, actually, I don't want the skunk here, do I? Well, if I play the skunk, though, I'm getting back a rabbit, and then next turn I can play the stoat and the Mantis God by drawing one of my... I can draw a squirrel to play everything. So how do I want to play this? I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to play the skunk right here. Gives us back the rabbit. But I'm not going to play anything else just yet. We're going to wait until... Well, at the same time, that's 3 face damage that I could be doing with the Mantis God. And because we took the health that we did with the Mantis God, maybe I just... I'm going to wait. Because actually, I could line up a better lethal if I wait, I think. We're gonna wait here, because I don't want to do the damage right away with the Mantis God. Put him down to 2. And then he doesn't hit us for anything. We would be killing him with exact lethal coming up. We can do better. I'm going to be greedy. I hope my greed is not going to be punished. But I think it's going to be okay, because actually, do we get overkill here? I think we get over... This is going to be so disgusting. I have to draw a rabbit. Sorry, a squirrel. Because now what I do is I play the Mantis God here. And I think it's actually going to kill the elk fawn and the raven egg. And then I can also play my rabbit plus my stoat right here in order to... I think I am sure, because that's going to kill this elk fawn. And it does work that way. Holy crap. Okay, guys, we have a good card in our deck. Turns out having a good card is good. Grizzly, huh? I can't quite play the Grizzly. And it gets me the same exact... It actually gets me less lethal than if I just keep the board the way it is. So we keep the board the way it is, and we win. Dude, this Mantis God is starting to... Oh, we just need to draw this card. That's the only thing that we have to do, is draw it. And unfortunately, if I go to the left, this is the only problem here. If we go to the left, we're adding a card to our deck. If I go to the trader, I probably am not adding a card to my deck, and I'm subtracting a card by doing this sacrifice. I kind of want to do that. Get this bullfrog out of here. Put the bullfrog on, like, the grizzly, maybe. Or the wolf would be a much better early game defensive option. I think it's actually correct to go to the right. I do want a boon, but I don't necessarily want to fight an elite. But I also would get to see whatever card I add here instead of picking a random tribe. So both of these paths have merit. They do have merit. We could also pick a duplicate that would let us, you know, combine one of these cards in a better way than just combining 2 mole men. There are choices here that are interesting to think about. I will go... Which way am I going to go? We're going to go to the... Whatever sacrifice I do is not, like, super consequential. So I think it makes more sense to go to this side. But then I also am adding 1 more card to my deck, probably. I'm going to go this way. It's tough. Elk, field mice. Now, we have seen the field mice before, and that got us a very good buff with our death card. The licentious field mice, you will draw a copy when they are played. Yes, yes, yes. And then a sparrow. Okay, I really don't want any of these cards. Don't really want any of them. The field mice do give us a very powerful sacrifice target. So we probably just take the field mice so that we can put them on something good later on. Maybe a mole man. Maybe. Putting it on a grizzly would be okay. Even an elk fawn would not be the worst target. I guess I'm going to take that, though. I just don't... A 1 mana, 1/2 flyer just isn't cutting it, I don't think. 2 mana, 2/4 elk is also kind of meh. I don't love that. I'm going to take the field mice, but see, that's an instance where I really would rather not add a card to my deck if I could help it. And also, now I'm seeing what's at this row up here, and we're going to be steering into an item pickup. Ugh, that feels quite bad, but it does give us an incentive to use our items. Are we upgrading our Mole Man, or do we go... I think it's better for us to just remove a Mole Man. I think that's what we want to do here, and try to get a... I want to see what happens when we sacrifice a rare card, and that's essentially what I would be doing if I go to the Mycologists. Yes, I would get a 0/12 Mole Man, but I think it's better to see if we can get a boon that just is always on and giving us a benefit. I want to see if more powerful boons exist. Let's go this way. And let's throw in not the good Mole Man, the one that's slightly weaker, and hopefully we'll get something good out of this. Ah. Okay. It's a second minor boon of the Bone Lord. There are other boons in here, correct? There is a boon of the Bone Lord, as opposed to a minor boon. There's also a boon of the Forest. You'll start a battle with Grand Furs on all of your spaces. Is that good? I guess it gives you time to draw into your cards. Boon of the Goat's Blood. You'll start a battle with a Black Goat on the board. There are some good boons in here. I don't know if we got unlucky. I don't know what we did to displease the Bone Lord, but we did offer a rare card. But we only got a minor boon of the Bone Lord as a result. Now, to be honest, that's still not the worst thing, because now you have 2 bones to start the battle, which means you can immediately play your death card when it does end up in your opening hand. So that's not the worst thing. At the same time, we are going to have to deal with stinky elk fawns. Oh my. And it is so... I am actually so glad that I upgraded my Mantis God. It turns out that the Death Touch, 2-attack Death Touch, I saw this coming apparently. I didn't really see this coming, but maybe the Mantis God saw it coming with his third eye. He was able to perceive the potential downside of stinky enemies ruining the Death Touch. Except it's not ruined now. We're going to be in fine shape here because we're going to be able to take out both these elk fawns. I think we're not going to be able to take out both elk fawns because, unfortunately, the snowy fur is going to get in the way. And this elk right here is going to move to the right. This one will not because it's going to be blocked. So we can't quite line things up the way we want. But I will at least be able to kill a boulder and an elk fawn with my Mantis God. So that's not nothing. Now for this turn, I can actually still just play the Mantis God and kill the boulder, and we're actually close to setting up lethal. So this might be fine. Sack this Mantis God, put him here. Oh my god, this card is so good now. Holy crap. So we almost just killed the enemy turn 1. So close if he didn't have that fur in the way. We win now, though. We just win. We just flippin' win. Holy crap. Now, the only thing here is, well, I can't do anything about it, but you could, like, now that you have these cards in your deck that give you items, there's this, you know, stall tactic that you might think about doing. How can I stall this game out to draw to my item cards to give me more items? But that's a risky business in this game. I don't think it's quite like... I mean, look at what's coming down the pike. If this game stalls out, we're gonna be in bad shape. Now, at the same time, we've got a Mantis God. If he weren't just killing the enemy on his own this turn... Oh, is he killing the enemy, though? We are still killing the enemy, actually, because I forgot about the Stinky debuff. The Mantis God, fortunately, still does Death Touch. And maybe once the Elk Fawn dies, the Death Touch will actually go back, or the attack power will go back to 2 for this final hit. Is that how that works? One way or the other, I am going to play the Squirrel. And I'm going to play my Bullfrog so I get 1 extra damage. here. And that gives me lethal over the requisite amount, which we were getting anyways. I think it did hit for 2 there. Yeah, after it kills the elk fawn and the stinky debuff goes away. Man, the mantis god has arrived, folks. Oh, and we can finally see the boss icon for the Snowlands. There's a couple dual-wielding daggers, and is that a bear trap, or is it a crown? I'm getting excited. We have our boss showdown coming for the 3rd act, and I think we might actually be ready for it. What in the hell is this? Did I do that? What in the world? We cannot read this page. And there's tentacles. What does this say? Card counter? The value represent equal to the number of... I wonder, is this... we don't know for sure because the rulebook is sort of an inky mess on this page. But it's variable stats, similar to the ants. Is this going to go up based on the number of cards in our deck or in our hand? It's probably our hand, isn't it? So this could be a very strong card if you just keep drawing cards. What else do we have? Pronghorn and a Turkey Vulture. I don't think we're going to be picking that, even with our double minor boon of the Bone Lord. I still don't really want to put an 8 bone card in my deck. I have stronger cards. I don't want any of these. But I guess for the fun of it, we will pick the cheaper card. The Pronghorn is not really what I want. I think we just take the cheaper card. Yeah, I don't want a 2-mana card here. Keep our deck cheap. We've got a couple expensive cards in there for when the situation arises, but I don't want to draw too many expensive cards all at once. And I kind of want to see what this one does. It's a new card. Tentacles! Oh my god, this run has been something else. All right, well, at least we get to fill up on items before going into this boss, and we get a frozen opossum? That pitiful opossum. What does this do? Frozen opossum bottle. It's defined as 0 power, 5 health, frozen away. I'm gonna have to look up what frozen away is, apparently. Let's see if we can find it here. Frozen away. When a card bearing this sigil perishes, the creature inside is released in its place. That's interesting. So there's like a death rattle. So that's pretty decent value, honestly. I don't think we need the black goat here. Our deck is not really reliant on ramping. It's a pretty cheap deck. Now there is this surprise lethal that we could get with the fan. Let's see, we have a hook and we have the piggy bank. I did forget that we have the bone piggy bank. I still don't think I would want to take the vultures, the turkey vulture there, and have to rely on the piggy bank in order to play it. I think I'm going to take this possum. It's a new item. I mean, we haven't picked the fan yet, but I think our deck wants to stall. So when we don't draw Molemen, we can play the possum, hopefully, if there's not a bunch of flyers that are killing us, and we can stall out and then get a little bit of value off of that possum when it finally dies. New boss time. I'm excited. Also nervous that one of our candles goes away, but let's see what we can do. A man stood before you. A man you recognized immediately. It was the trapper. That was, in fact, a bear trap over his head. The trapper is here as a boss? You reached out to examine his wares, but he stopped you. Sorry, but today you will supply the pelts. Oh my god. Oh, and those knives. Holy shit. The knives floating in the background. Look at that. Wow. And listen to this music. The music is so, like, minimalistic, but it just provides the exactly perfect atmosphere. Oh, man, this is good, actually. Now, what in the world are we facing down? Strange frogs. We've got, like, some mechanical, robotic frog replacements here. And a leaping trap. So, all right, so the frogs are Mighty Leap. 1/2s, not the biggest deal. But then you have Steel Trap combined with Mighty Leap. When a card bearing this sigil perishes, the creature opposing it perishes as well. A pelt is created in your hand. The creature opposing it. Does that count the Mantis God? If the Mantis God is like in this square here. It says the square or the creature opposing it, right? That's this square. I think the Mantis God might get around this Steel Trap. We do get a pelt back. Very fittingly. God, this track is a banger. I am loving this music right now. What I am maybe not liking quite as much is our hand currently. But at the same time, it's not the worst. Our Greater Smoke is going to block and trade with this Strange Frog. We do also have the Skunk to kind of keep one of these Strange Frogs at bay. It also puts a rabbit in our hand. And then we could at some point play the Field Mice. If we need to. That's a pretty expensive play. I really want to be drawing into my deck. I don't really need to use the frozen opossum. Or any of my items for that matter. So let's go ahead and just play the Greater Smoke. We'll start chipping away at the Strange Frog. We can play the Squirrel as well to get our Skunk into play. And that will save us some damage. I don't quite want to play the Bullfrog yet because it is going to be dying to the Strange Frog if we play it on this turn. So we'll just pass here. This music is absolutely incredible. Okay. So we drew a rabbit. I'm going to draw into my deck. We got good cards in our deck that we need to get to. Now, that's a Grizzly. A Grizzly is something that we could just play. And we would be in a decent position. Because right now, well, we'll have to see what special abilities, like when we get to a phase 2, how are things going to change? I don't know. And it worries me because I've seen crazy things happen upon phase transitions with these bosses. But so far, it's felt like you don't really want to overcommit to the board. That's the main important point, is making sure that you're not playing too many things before you hit that phase transition. So I think for now, we just kind of stand pat. If anything, I could play the Bullfrog here to start trading with this frog. And maybe that's what I will do. I'll save a little bit of damage here. I think that's what I will do. Oh! Oh, now I know. Now I know. I didn't get it before, but now I do. The Strange Frog has some fine print that was not previously known to us. But when a Strange Frog dies, a trap is sprung. Good thing I didn't play the Grizzly. That was another reason not to overcommit with the Grizzly. This is where now I probably should start drawing some squirrels. Need to be able to play what I've got. Okay, so yeah. So a leaping trap springs into place after the frog has been dealt with. I guess we need, if we're going to have anything happen, we want our small creatures to be trading with... Yeah, this is fine, actually. We'll leave this the way it is. And now we'll just have a bullfrog to deal with on the other end. That's no big deal. The trap is sprung. Greater Smoke is out of here. We do get a pelt in return. Ooh, and now an adder is on the way. Okay. Now, the pelt can't be sacrificed, right? So, we still kind of need to draw. The field mice puts a copy of itself into the hand, right? This strange frog, we're just holding this side of the board on lockdown. We're going to play the bullfrog, and then it's going to kill the trade with the trap. I'm still deciding whether I draw a squirrel or not here. That's the thing. I still need to draw into the deck. But I also need to put something on the board to counter the state that I'm in here, right? Because I am a little bit down on life. And I think in order to do that, I need to draw a squirrel this turn. I do at least have the wolf pelt to start saving myself some damage at some point. But I'm going to play or draw a squirrel here so that I can play my field mice. And that kills the bullfrog. And it also will hopefully start to swing the life total back in my direction eventually. Now we'll see what he plays in response. He does not play anything. Good. That's what I was hoping to see. So now I kind of want to start drawing into my deck. Because I really don't need to play a grizzly or the mice at this point. Let's draw into our deck and start getting towards our better cards. We're still not taking lethal, so this is fine. Now an adder is coming down, so we'll have to do something here. But I think what we do is this turn we can play a stoat and kill this adder. So let's do that. I could also sacrifice this skunk at some point, maybe, but then that strange frog starts hitting us. So let's not do that. Let's just kill the adder. If anything, you'd want the skunk to be across from the adder here and just keep it on lockdown, but it's fine. Yeah, I was going to come in and kill the field mice, but now we're essentially at a stalemate. He hasn't played anything else yet. So I think we just keep drawing into our deck, because the moment that we draw our death card, we're like in such a good spot. Or the Mantis Gods. Mantis God, I should say. Because now I can actually... I think I sacrificed the Stoat to play the Mantis God here. If nothing else, we'll get to see if the Leaping Trap does interact with the Mantis God negatively, but I don't think it will, based on the way things read. I think I'm more than fine just sacrificing... I just don't want to put the Mantis God in front of the strange frog. Then it would spring the trap. But we can put the Mantis God here, and we get full value out of its attacks. Such a good card. God damn. But now there is a wolf coming down that's going to eat it. But at the same time, we are pushing lethal here. And we're going to see what happens on the phase transition. I'm going to go ahead and draw into my deck. I'm maybe going to need some squirrels very soon, but I do have a possum if I need to really stall, and I've got some pelts. So we've got some stall tactics, depending on what happens here with the phase transition. But I think we're pushing lethal here. Let's do it. Without overcommitting. The skunk does die, of course. We get a pelt from the skunk. And we get our first candle. Okay, we're off to a decent start. Now what? The adders leave the board. The trap leaves the board. Exquisite pelts, but the cycle must continue. Oh? Did he just flip his mask upside down? Let's trade? Are we actually trading our pelts for cards in the middle of the battle? Powerful cards. I will accept only the finest pelts for them. Wow. We can actually take cards, trade for what you can, but know this. The rest will stay and fight for me. Oh God. Oh God. Okay. Very interesting. We ended up with 4 wolf pelts. It's good that we didn't play any of those to the board, because then we wouldn't have had them to trade. We kept them in our hand, not really knowing what was going to happen. This is unbelievable. Did we get the wolf pelts? We got them when our minions died. So it actually was, to some extent, it was in our best interest to have traded off as many of our cards as we could have. Okay, so let's think about this. There's a moose buck that's bifurcated. That seems awesome. There's also a turkey vulture that has fledgling. That seems awesome. There's a raven, which seems okay. There's a great white, which is probably okay. There's a grizzly with waterborne, which seems terrifying if that stays on the opponent's side. My question here is, am I facing all of these cards at once? Like, if I take 4 of these cards, am I going to face down the other 4 on the other side of the board immediately? And if I take these cards, are they going to the board or are they going to my hand? Decisions. I might just for the fact that if they go to my hand, then the turkey vulture is one that's pretty good, because I have a lot of bones already. So I should probably just take the turkey vulture and see what happens. I think it's probably going to go to my hand. It does go to my hand. Okay. Yikes. I'm just a little worried that the other 4 cards are going to be on the board right away. But I don't know if that's how it's going to work. Maybe they just go back to his hand and he plays them turn by turn. This elk does have Guardian, which is okay on a 2/4. The River Snapper does have Fledgling as well, so it turns into something better after a turn. So the one issue with taking a moose buck, well, I guess these are all kind of expensive, and now is when I'm kind of like, oh, I need to be drawing squirrels. I need so many squirrels all of a sudden. Maybe I need to take this rattler as well, because at least I can pay for it with bones. This raven, I should be able to kill this raven if this stays on his side of the board. The river snapper might be a little bit scary, but I at least have ways to block a low attack snapper. Maybe I just need to take the cards that I know I'm going to have a tough time interacting with if he plays them. I might not get to play them myself, but at least I can take them away from him. Like, this rattler would be annoying for him to have, but at least I could kind of kill it eventually. Do I still have a Mantis God in play? I do. That's a big deal. It's going to be very sad if the rattler comes down and kills my Mantis God. I can't avoid that, though, because I couldn't have taken all the creatures that have 3 or more attack. I can only take 4, and he's going to be left with at least 1 of them. So if he plays one of these cards opposite of my Mantis God, there's nothing I can do. I wish I could check to see how many bones I have. I think I'm going to leave the rattler on his side, though. I'm just going to take the grizzly, the white, and the moose buck? Question mark? The moose buck is a lot of damage, potentially. I'm at least going to take that away from him. The great white and the grizzly are just... the fact that they're going to be waterborne is so annoying. But at the same time, I do have a frozen possum. So if one of them does come down, I can throw a possum in the way. And I can do it with... I think I'd rather take the great white so it's not moving around on me. Let's take that, and let's also take the rattler. That's what we do. You would have chosen differently, huh? I think I made pretty decent choices. Oh, now the thing is, I actually ended up choosing pretty wisely because that is going to be the state of the board. The Grizzly's going to come down here, which is scary, but I think we can deal with that. I think we're going to be able to deal with the Grizzly somehow, some way. We may not be able to kill it with anything, basically, because it's waterborne, but we have the ability to block it. So what I need to do is draw some squirrels. That needs to happen. And now, let's see what I can do, if anything. I have so many bones. I have so many flippin' bones, but I cannot really play anything from my hand right now because I just don't have enough squirrels. But I can play my... Yeah, I'm gonna play my turkey vulture. And I'm gonna play it over here. And I'm also going to do my frozen possum and put that right here to block the bear. Oh, I forgot that elk has guardian. I actually ordered that correctly. I put the turkey vulture down first. I totally forgot about guardian, but because I put the turkey vulture first, it moved to block the possum, and now the turkey vulture can hit face. But also the mantis god is gonna kill it. Get wrecked, noob. And now we have an elder turkey vulture, and we just win. We just win. For a second there, I thought there was going to be a surprise phase 3. I almost thought that that's what... I was like, that went too smoothly. That went too well. The rug is going to get pulled out from underneath us. But our lives have been restored. Face to face, defeat the trapper and the traitor. Oh! I didn't realize that's what happened. The trapper was phase 1. The traitor was phase 2. Oh, of course. Because of course we were trading. That's why the mask flipped. I totally didn't get that, guys, because I'm a dingus. But we won. We made it through boss number 3 on the first try, no less. But it wasn't our first try getting through Act 3. We had to learn some hard lessons there along the way, but we also... We've got a much stronger deck, guys. We have gotten maybe a little bit lucky with some of the things that have been offered, but we're starting to make some pretty good decisions, like getting a lot of value out of our death card and this Mantis God, my goodness. Death touch on the Mantis God. We're starting to do some broken things. And we get another one. There's another Mantis God here. That filthy feral hog, it becomes incensed when its chimes are struck. We have seen the Douse, however it's pronounced. Maybe it's a Dow. Dow? We have seen this one before. We haven't taken it. And Steve's back. We're taking another Mantis God, guys. Because, holy shit. Imagine that we get to do the thing again. Or we just combine the two. We could do that as well. We could combine them at the gynecologist. But one way or the other, I think we're taking that. I think that's what we're taking. The Bellist, the Douse is an interesting defensive option, I guess. It does give you more bones. It probably has a lot more synergy in a bones-centric deck. But we're not... Well, we do have bones. Or something to spend our bones on. It's just one card in our deck, but when we do get it, things can pop off. So I don't know. I really like the idea, though, of combining to power up our Mantis God even more. Or who knows, if we get lucky enough, we could have even a second Mantis God that gets Death Touch, and I don't know. The game might break if we do that. I think we're going to take the Mantis God for the upside. The Mantis God must be praised for the favor that he has shined upon us in this run. With the enigmatic trapper and trader now bleeding into the snow, you persisted. You could see a light in the distance. The end is near. I was wondering, we will need another map. I figured that this was probably not the end. I didn't think it would just be 3 acts and then we're done. Oh my God. But we are getting to something very different looking. Have we reached the cabin? That's kind of where we are. We're kind of in a cabin, aren't we? What does it mean if we reach the cabin on the map? Do we actually walk through the cabin door IRL, and then we have a duplicated version of ourselves, which we can then visit the gynecologist with, and then everything is just crazy? I don't know exactly what's going to happen here. We have a chance to get items, or we're going to infuse. Who am I kidding? We are infusing probably. But we're going to make that decision next time. This is where we're going to wrap up this installment of Inscryption. Holy crap, we have made just amazing progress here, getting the power level in our deck to reach new heights. I have really, really enjoyed this run so far. It has just been so much of a blast because we can see now what you're probably supposed to do in a card game like this is make some broken stuff. And that's what we've done. Can we get the Mantis God to carry us the rest of the way? And is this the final stop in our journey? I don't exactly know, but we've got some decisions to make. Probably going to be sacrificing a card because we've kept the deck at a reasonable size, and so we can draw into our Mantis God with more regularity. That's probably the choice. But we'll make that decision for sure next time. We still have this mysterious mistake over here at some point, which I'm a little unsure to click on when we're in the middle of such a good run. I would hate to ruin it. Kill our run by opening the green goopy bottle at the wrong moment. So we'll probably just keep pressing forward here, because I want to see what's gonna happen when we reach that cabin. Looking forward to it. Thank you all very much for joining me, and I hope to see you in the next one.